everyone, welcome to another episode of Eat Something with Dee. I'm going to start off as usual by saying thank you so much to everybody that's been tuning in and watching after it's recorded. My last video is inching closer and closer to 10,000 views, and that is so huge for me. So thank you so much to everybody that's been tuning in, and also to everybody that's coming up and telling me that they're loving my recipes and their families are loving them. That's what it's all about for me. So thank you again so much. Today's recipe is a childhood favorite of mine, something that my mom made for us when we were growing up. And the genesis of the recipe is kind of fun. There is a small little kind of fast food franchise back home in Bombay called Tibbs. And they have a signature chicken roti called the Frankie. They also make it in other meats and vegetarian as well, but the chicken one is famous across Bombay. And what's essentially in a Frankie is a roti with some amazing curried chicken, and it's this taste that you can't get anywhere else, and we loved it so much and we always wanted to have it as kids. So my mom is really, really awesome, and every time we liked something outside of the home, she would try and recreate it for us in our own kitchen so that we could have it whenever we wanted. So that's what I'm making for you today, a Frankie style chicken wrap or chicken roti. And we're gonna get started right away. Let me jump into the ingredients because this is gonna take a little bit of time. So let's go. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera here, and I'm going to get you guys situated. Yeah, look at all our fantastic, yummy ingredients we got going on today. My camera decides to skew the way I don't want it to. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite a lot going on, so I'm going to walk you through it. We've got 2 chicken breasts cut up in little bite-sized chunks. If you're looking for a weight, I'd say that's about 350 grams of boneless, skinless chicken breast. Then I've got 3/4 of cup of onion puree. Essentially, I just put my onion in my little chopper and it grinds it up really fine, and this is what you land up with. If you don't have something that can really bring your onion down to this consistency, you can just chop it really finely and you're fine. And then, of course, we've got 2 tablespoons of cooking oil, whatever you like, canola, olive oil, whatever takes your fancy, really. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of turmeric. We're going to do 4 teaspoons of cumin powder and 3 teaspoons of coriander powder here. And then I'm just going to do about 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of chili powder because this isn't a super spicy recipe. The taste is really in all the amalgamation of spices, and it's more kind of on the sour side. And so speaking of the sour side, I've got 2 teaspoons here of dry mango powder. This is what really adds a nice little tang to the recipe, and it goes in last. And dry mango powder is really available quite widely, but if you can't get your hands on it and you really are stuck, you can replace that with the juice of 1 lime, and you'll do fine. You'll still get a little bit of tang in there, and it'll be quite tasty as well. And then I've also got my 2 teaspoons of ginger garlic paste. As I've mentioned before, ginger garlic, just take equal parts of the ginger and garlic, grind it up in your chopper, and Bob's your uncle. And then, of course, you've got your salt to taste. I've got about 1 teaspoon over there. And then we come to these 3 ingredients, which are for the slaw that goes on the chicken wrap as well. So I've just got some chopped up onions over here. That's about 1/2 cup. And then I've got 1/4 cup of fresh coriander. Oh God, I love fresh coriander. And then I've got 1/2 a lime there as well. And then out here, I don't know if you can see, this is 1/2 teaspoon of what we call chaat masala. Chaat masala is a very typical Indian blend of spices. It just adds a little bit of chatpata tang, as we like to say. And again, if you don't have that, you can just add a little more lime juice and you'll do pretty all right. So let's get started. This recipe, I'm cooking meat, and so I want to make sure it cooks down really well. So I have over here on my stove already started browning my onions in oil. Let me bring you over. Can you see? Can you see? Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. So I've got my onions browning here over a low to medium flame. You don't want them to burn, obviously. You just want them to change color a little bit and kind of look like that. And then I throw in my ginger garlic paste. Stir that around for a little bit. And then we get into our spices. So I always like to start with my turmeric. I don't know why, I just have this habit. Do about a teaspoon of turmeric. And then I do my 4 teaspoons of cumin. 2, 3, 4. And then I do my 3 teaspoons of coriander. Now, I don't know why I do less coriander than cumin. I find when I do meat dishes, I tend to do less coriander and more cumin. And then when I do vegetarian dishes, I do more coriander and less cumin. I don't know why. It's just something I've developed over the years, and it's part of my shtick. So we got our cumin in there, and then just a titch, like about even less than a teaspoon of the red chili powder, because like I said, it's not meant to be super spicy per se. So you've got all your spices in there now. And you just make sure that they get nicely mixed in. Now, the thing with spices in Indian cooking, I find a lot of people say, oh, I can't handle the spices. Now, if you can't handle hot food like chili, I understand that because that's just a taste preference. But when it comes to spices like cumin or coriander and turmeric and that kind of thing, the only thing you have to keep in mind for those spices is they need to be cooked down really, really well. If you don't cook them down, you have raw spices, and that's going to hit your stomach so bad. That's what gives you indigestion. It's not the spices, it's the fact that they're not cooked down enough. So I like to really cook my spices down properly. And so I manipulate them a lot, and I keep stirring them to make sure that they don't burn. Of course, I'm using a fantastic non-stick skillet. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to my cooking utensils. I like to invest in good, strong things that will last me many years. So a nice non-stick skillet will make sure that it doesn't burn, but also you keep moving it around so it doesn't burn. And I always keep a titch of water on hand, a cup or 2 of water, just so that if it's too dry, you just very, very little, be very careful. I'm just putting in about maybe a tablespoon or so just to get it going a little bit. Okay, maybe a little bit more, because we want it to come to a gravy consistency ultimately, not right away. Right now we're just cooking the spices. And then I just kind of mush them around. And you can actually leave them to cook for a little bit because they don't need you to just stare at them endlessly. So you cover that up, and then I'm going to bring you back over because we're going to make our slaw, which is the next thing that you need for this recipe. Ooh, shadows, hello. All right, so let me put you back down. Those are our ingredients for our slaw. Let me move these away because we don't need them. And here we go. So, for the slaw, very simple. While the spices are cooking, let them do their thing. You start on your slaw. Throw your onions into your bowl. And you got some coriander in there. I keep the little bit for garnish later. Just a titch. And then you got your half teaspoon of chaat masala, if you remember. And then, got my handy little lime juicer here. Squish that in there nicely. Yeah. Get every bit of juice out. And there's your slaw. Just mix it around. Give it a little sniff. Delicious. This is going to be your slaw. Now, one of the things, of course, that I forgot to mention right off the top, which is the most important thing in your chicken wrap, is your wraps. Now, I like to use tortilla wraps just from good old Dempster's because I am a very bad Indian and nobody's going to marry me because I can't make good rotis. So if you're one of those great Indian girls who can make rotis or great Indian boys who can make rotis, good for you. You make those rotis. I'm going to stick to my good old Dempster's wraps. They do make whole wheat wraps, which are great, and they mimic rotis even better. But I also like the texture more of the plain white wrap, so that's what I'm using. And I'm going to take you back to our chicken spices that are cooking. And how's my camera just like hates me today? There we go, much better. Okay, and we've got our spices cooking down. And you can really, if you pay attention, you can really smell the difference when the spices are raw and when they're cooked down. And you can also tell because you'll notice a little oily residue leaving the onions and leaving your spices and developing at the bottom of your cook pan. I'm not sure if that translates really well on camera, but that is what's supposed to happen. Then, once you're here, I would make this slightly more runny. Just about 2 tablespoons of water in there. And then you are ready for your chicken. So you just make sure you get your chicken in there. And just coat the chicken evenly with all of your spices and your onions and all that yummy goodness. And at this point, you can throw in your salt to taste, about a teaspoon. I use coarse sea salt because I find it to be actually saltier than other salt. So that's what I put in there. And then you want to make sure that your chicken is just turning color like this a little bit. See how that piece is a little whitish? So with the heat, that's going to happen. And you just keep tossing your chicken till all the pieces begin to look like that. There we go. Nice. All of them have a little bit of color on them, I think. I'm trying to heat up a little bit. There you go. Oh my God, if you could smell this right now, oh, my whole body will smell of this for the rest of the day. I'm okay with that. I don't mind being fragrantly curry scented because it's just absolutely delicious. Now, you might want to make sure that the people around you don't mind it. But, you know, I do this to make myself happy. So, we got this going. They're all got a little bit of color on them. And now you're going to cook it down. So, you're going to put just enough water for the chicken to sit in its own juices. You don't want to drown your chicken. Please don't drown your chicken. You're just going to dilute all that wonderful flavor and you're going to lose it. And you also want this at the end to be kind of a really thick consistency. It's not going to be your typical curry that has a lot of gravy. It's going to be a nice thick consistency, and I'll show you that in a second. But essentially, that's about, I want to say that's just a little more than half a cup of water in there. You don't want to put too much in. Just make sure that it's sitting in its own juices like that. And then you just leave it alone to cook for a while. Now, the good thing about this recipe is you could actually do it in a slow cooker and leave it all day. If you want to slow cook this, just leave it on a lowish flame for like an hour. It'll cook down. It'll get really nice and juicy. But otherwise, chicken takes about 10 to 15 minutes to cook. It's really not that long of a cook time. So we're going to cover it, and I'm going to put it on my back burner here because by the magic of pre-preparation, I already have some cooked up for you here. And now you're going to say, oh my God, that looks totally different. Yes, it does, because once it's cooked up, I actually shred the chicken up. You can take a fork or a spoon or just your hands, because I like to get in there nice and dirty. and you shred up your chicken into this kind of consistency. So I've got some pieces just left over here to show you. I'm not sure if you can see there. And you can just break them up like this. And there's your shredded chicken. It's not rocket science. Most of my cooking is not rocket science. If I can do it quick and dirty, I'm happy. So you just break up your chicken like that. And there you go. Now, it's really thick, obviously, because I've cooked it previously, so I might add just a titch of water to get it going again. And that is your delicious Frankie chicken. Frankie-like chicken. I don't know if Frankie is trademarked, so Frankie-like chicken. Frankie style. Frankie says relax. That's the song, right? Relax, don't do it when you can't. What are the words? I don't know the words to the song. Okay, all right, enough of that Frankiness. This is your chicken curry that's gonna go into your wrap. So I'm gonna move you over now, once again, because we're gonna be making our wrap. You guys still with me? Okay, all right. Let's move back over. You can see me? Hi. Okay, good. Here, I'm going to move back over to our wrap. So I've preheated these a little bit just on an open flame, or you can do it on a flat pan. You don't want cold rotis or wraps with hot chicken. So I like to do them like this. And then I'll bring my chicken over. And just place it in the center. It's kind of up to you how much chicken you want to put in there. I don't like to overfill it because it really gets quite messy. And sometimes that's the fun of it. You can like get all the juices dripping down your hands. But for the most part, if you're making this for your friends, you kind of want them to have some of their dignity left over. So, you know, don't overfill them. All right. So, you got your chicken in there now. Yummy. And remember the slaw that we made earlier? We're going to, let me do this first. Here we go. We're going to put our slaw on. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. While you're cooking the chicken down like that, you want to throw your amchur in. Now, that was pre-prepared, so I already had it in, but remember our mango powder? You want to throw that in at the point, after the point that you've shredded your chicken down and everything's been cooked up. This is almost like a top-up. So you throw that in. Make sure you put that in before you do this part. All right, you got your slaw on there. Let's do it like this. Now, because these are for me, and I'm going to be eating them, I always top up with a little more lime juice because I just love that sour, sour taste. And then, this is the way I wrap my wrap. I was like in a singing mood today, I think. There we go. And then my mom used to hold these together with cloves when we were younger because we were, you know, dumb kids. And if we bite into a toothpick, that might be an issue. So, but you can hold it, you can put a toothpick through it and hold it because hopefully you're serving this to people who know that toothpicks will disfigure you. If you shove them up your mouth. Sorry to anybody that uses toothpicks. It's not going to disfigure you if you use them properly. Look at this camera. It's just all over the place today. Okay. And here's the second one. See, now I overfilled that. Serves me right. It's going to drip down. Ah, there we go. Okay. And there's your beautiful Frankie-style chicken wraps. Now, I have eaten this for dinner, for a snack, for lunch, just whenever the fancy takes me, I want to eat a Frankie. And that's really the whole all as far as today's recipe is concerned. I've been having a few camera issues apparently, but we're just gonna deal. That's really it. That's today's recipe. Your chicken curry wraps, Frankie style chicken curry wraps. Serve them to your family, serve them to your kids. They'll be delicious and they'll love you forever, hopefully. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this recipe today and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thanks so much. Bye.